Alright, as many of you know, I recently picked up a Motorola Xoom after not buying an iPad for at least the first generation of those. I wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of what makes the Xoom so cool and why I like it so well so far. If you pop in, it's essentially very similar to an iPad. The big difference you'll notice offhand is that instead of just having icons on the home screen, you have widgets too. For example, here's my calendar. You can kind of flip through, see what's going on there. Here's recent emails I've gotten. You can go through those. There's a clock widget here. If we scroll over, I can pull some pictures from the gallery and put them there. You get some neat ones, like here's my browser bookmarks, and here's recent YouTube videos. You can flip through to see the different videos and tap to go into one. If you want to add a new widget, we'll go over to the screen here. I don't have anything. Just press and hold. You can add widgets, shortcuts, wallpapers, or various other things. So we could go in. The books is kind of a neat one. I don't use their books. I still use Kindle, but drop the books and just say we want to put it right here. And it works similarly to the YouTube app, where you can flip through the different book titles and then tap on one to go in and read it. So we open up Alice in Wonderland, and it takes us in here, and you can just kind of flip through the pages. Kind of neat little flipping motion. I think it would probably get old pretty quick, but it's kind of cute, and you can still tap to flip pages too. It'll go quicker. The size of the screen is interesting, where it has this black bar at the bottom. We'll go back in to the books for a second, you can see it better. The black bar at the bottom that takes up 80 pixels tall. Leaving the rest of the screen at 1280 by 720, which on most phones and tablets it seems to be kind of a random size, but that happens to be the exact size of 720p video like you'd have on your TV. Meaning when you play videos, it eats up that top part, leaves the bar at the bottom for your controls, and it's exactly the right resolution. So videos on here look phenomenal. They do a great job with those. And the camera on the back can shoot 720p video as well. So works out well, looks good, and then if you hook up an HDMI cable to your TV, it actually only sends the top 720 pixels out to your TV, leaving the black bar off, producing a very good picture there. Again, some of the apps I really like include Gmail. I'm a big Gmail fanatic. The way it handles it on here is great, where you get your folders down the side. You can tap on a message to open it up, read the message here, and then you still have your list of messages on the side. If you go back to the list, if you want, you can tap and hold and put it in a folder, take care of it that way, and the different items at the top change depending on what you're doing. Right now I have a few options to refresh, compose a new message, and search, but as soon as I select a message, or if I go into one, that changes to change labels, delete, archive. That menu is always changing depending on what you're doing. It's kind of a neat little menu down there. On the bottom left, you have three buttons that are usually there. The back, which usually take it back a screen, home, back out to the home screen, and this is your recently used apps. You can pop that up for multitasking. You can hop back into books, read some books for a while. Need to check my email again, just pop that open, head back into Gmail. It makes switching between apps very, very useful. Here's Tweetdeck. Tweetdeck's kind of a neat example of how they handle the phone-based apps on here, which I think is better than the way iPad did, but it's certainly not ideal. On iPad, it took the small iPhone apps and just kind of doubled the size of them to fit the iPad, and they got all fuzzy, but they still held the right proportions. On here, the apps actually resized to fill the window, so everything stays real sharp and clear. If you go to Google Earth blog, you can read my review of Google Earth, which takes great advantage of this. But in some cases, like here with Tweetdeck, tweets run the full length of the screen, and it's not ideal to read. So hopefully, a lot of these companies will get that fixed up pretty soon. Have more tablet-specific apps. The other big one people always use on most any device is their browser, and the browser on here is excellent. I actually had it on a different setting here. Let me go and change the settings. It's kind of neat. Similar to Gmail on your desktop, they have a labs mode where you can enable certain features that a lot of people may not want. And I've enabled those for now. The quick controls is kind of neat. We'll turn it off for now so you can see how it normally looks. And you'll see it looks a whole lot like your browser on your desktop, which is different than any other mobile browser you've seen, where you have the tabs across the top. Tap for a new tab here. It'll load the new tab page, and I can choose Google, whatever I want to fire up in there. Everything loads up real fast, works great. Pinching and zooming. Works real well on these. And it's a very slick browser all the way around. Really not a whole lot to say about it other than it's fast. It has the tabs, which is beautiful. Just does a nice job. And then, of course, it's part of your multitasking. You can jump into your email. Okay, let's jump back into the browser. Okay, and go back to my Noseby for my task list. Noseby task list I'm very, very happy with. They still don't have an Android app, which is finally due out in March, but I don't believe it. But even then it's going to be for the phone. But it's great, it's such a great browser, the full web version works just fine, so it does a nice job there. Let's see what else may be worth looking at. YouTube is kind of neat. A lot of people like to show that off on here, just because it does this cool 3D video wall of all the hot videos of the day. You kind of flip through and see them, and tap on one to go in and watch it. And then of course you can browse and search and do all that kind of fun stuff at the top. CNN has done a real nice job with their app. It's a little slow. I still yet to understand why it's so slow to load. I mean, I'm on a real fast connection here. Everything else has been popping in real quick, and it's still just kind of loading in some things. It was only loaded a few items here, but if we give it just a second more here, it'll load in. You'll see this last window filled, and it'll flush the rest of the page. So hopefully this is something they're working on for an enhancement. There we go, to get that to load a little quicker, because over 3G it's even slower. But it's neat just to flip through, read the stories, and tap on one. You get the full story here. Any media, pictures and video are in the top right. Comments from readers are down here. You can tap on the comments to leave your own. Hard on this angle to hit the right thing, but yeah, you can see the comments there to do those. USA Today has a similar app. We load that. You know, you can see they have the different categories across the top. I like that they have a little loading circle so you know it's loading. It seems to come up a lot quicker than CNN's, even though it doesn't have nearly as many. CNN has a ton of stories in there. These guys limit it to 10 or 12 usually. But it's still a very nice little app. So there's a quick look at the Xoom. I think it has a ton of advantages over the current iPad, although with the new iPad being announced Wednesday, it'll be very interesting to see what kind of features and speed they add to that one. So one more thing I want to look at too, I should mention, is Google Talk, which is great. This is a Google Chat application, but it also does video chat. So you can click through different folks. You know, here's my mom. I was chatting with them last night. Different folks along the side, but you can chat and pop into a full screen video chat thanks to the little front facing camera too. It's a 2 megapixel in the front and a 5 megapixel on the back to shoot those great pictures back there. Yeah, so there you go. So there's a quick look at the Xoom. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them for you. Thanks.